lot of dogs going on at the same time, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump from one to another and kind of keep you informed on what they're doing and ask lots of questions. There'll be plenty of time for you to, lots of chances for you to ask your questions as well. Here we have Sue Eldweaver. Sue is scissoring a poodle. A little bit about Sue. She was winner of Groomer of the Year last year. So a round of applause for that, please. She's also won Best in Show at the Northern Groomers Competition. You've won loads of poodle classes, haven't you? Sorry, beg your pardon. Best in Show in Ireland as well last year, so it was a good year for Sue. And she also won the English Groomers Creative Stylist of the Year as well, which was very exciting. She's bred and shown poodles for many years. Specifically now breeds parties and phantoms. And this is, what have we got here? What coloration would you call this?
He's actually a solid brindle.
There you go, a solid brindle. I've not seen this colour before in poodles.
His mum was a party brindle, so her dark patches were brindle and she was the white and brindle together. And he's actually brindle head to foot. He has no white on him at all.
There you go. Very pretty. Chrissy is one of our committee members, and she's also the editor of the Groomer Matters magazine, which you get if you're a member of the English Groomers group. She puts all that together pretty much on your Todd, didn't you? Yeah, pretty much. We call her Chrissy the Skill. She's won many awards in her grooming, including Reserve Groomer of the Year 2009. She won the English Groomers Challenge in 2006. And she owns the Brunswick Grooming chain in Brighton. Okay, I'm glad you're sitting down because Zoe's got quite a lot behind her. Well, that actually mean, I don't know, I'm going to move swiftly on. Zoe is one of the founder members of the Groom team, demonstrated at loads of seminars and events, and also judged an awful lot of grooming competitions as well. Also featured in the Bichon Frise and the Clip Long-Legged Terrier DVDs that you can get from the Styling Academy. Won Groom of the Year twice, gold medalist at Intergroom, and also European Grand Champion, which deserves another round of applause, I do believe. She's also a member of the Guild of Master Groomers, which means that she holds a high diploma as well as the sitting guilds, and that's kind of, it's about the highest you can get really in grooming, isn't it, the guild? It's kind of what, we all aspire to belong to the guild. And runs the Look North Training Centre up in Yorkshire Way, and she's also an examiner, so quite a top groomer really. So that's Zoe.
Thank you.
And Zoe's doing a Bichon, by the way, and Chris is doing a Fox Terrier, sorry. Right, okay, Mike. I don't know Mike. This is the first time I've met Mike. Just a baby. Specialist. Okay, I've taken this off your website, so I do apologise. Oh, hello. If it's not up to date, but you've been grooming and showing dogs for over 15 years, and have made up champions for yourself and other breeders in Cockers and German Shepherds. Mm-hmm. And you've shown a lot in Europe and the US, and you judge as well in both breeds. Is that right?
Yeah, I do.
And also Groomer of the Year. Was that the first time you've ever competed?
It was, yeah.
And then went on to win the experienced class in Groomer of the Year, which deserves a big round of applause. And definitely one to watch. His name's been battered around quite a bit, in a good way. We're all kind of a bit in awe of him at the moment. So, and Mike's going to be doing an English cocker, and he's going to be hand stripping him. Him?
With a few tricks.
With a few tricks. Exciting. Gun dogs are not my forte in the slightest, and anything I can learn, quite frankly, is going to be a good thing. What are you doing?
I'm clipping my poodle's feet.
What with?
I've currently got a 30 blade on him because he gets a bit sensitive, so I don't do the 40 on him.
Would you use that on your pet dogs?
Yes. My feet to be nice and neat, and my owners have got used to it, so they get used to the skinner look. And so long as the dog's skin can take it, then that's what they get.
Is there anything you can do about clipper rash? Is there anything that you can put on the skin to help that?
I personally use a product called Skinworks, which I got from Groom, and that works really well at soothing, but it also works for yourself as well. It's great on both people and the dogs. It really, really soothes and promotes healing very quickly.
Oh, okay. What's that called again?
The Skinworks.
The skin works. Oh, okay. Not heard of that one. It's always a tricky one when you're clipping a poodle, especially the first time. You never really know what you're gonna come up with and how irritated the skin's gonna get. So it's always handy to have something on side. So what style are you going to be putting Hobbs in?
He's going into Continental. He was clipped off when he was 7 months old. He was down in the lamb trim, so he's currently growing out into show trim. He's 15 months old now, so he's still very young. The coat's still very young, and he's growing quite quickly.
How long would it take for his coat to mature?
I wouldn't expect his coat to fully mature until he's about 3.
That's quite a long time. And will his colour change at all?
His colour is clearing quite nicely into the brindle striping, so the older he gets, the more you'll be able to see the defined stripes. And hence his name Hobbs is after Calvin and Hobbes and the tiger toy.
Just clipping out the jacket with a 4, just to give it a bit more length so that the flat work shows off against the jacket coat.
Okay. Would you use a shorter blade in the salon at all?
Yeah, it depends on the coat really. If you've got a really thick coat, you can go shorter. But I like to see the difference between the short areas and the longer areas. So
You like that definition between the two of them?
yeah.
And what are you going to do on his head?
Probably 7F reverse the cheeks to keep the cheeks in short, and then I do a little bit longer on the top, sort of 4F, so that it in reverse, so it blends nicely into the back of the neck.
I'm actually at the moment blocking out shape, so I'm concentrating on his top line, and then I bring in the rib cage, throat, and then shoulder. So I'm not concentrating on any scissor finishing or anything at the moment. I'm following mainly like the bone structures and the build of the dog.
Okay, so what do you put your top line in first?
That's the line that I need to work from, so I get the nice straight top line, bring the rib cage in, and I work it down one side and then onto the other. So I'll actually leave the legs and then work on a leg at a time.
So you're kind of making sure that you're working in a certain system.
On a Bichon, it's really, really important to have methodical work. You can't go here, there and everywhere on a Bichon. Well, I think with any dog, you need to keep it in a routine and have a routine for it. Everybody has a slight different routine, but mainly you'll find most people with Bichons will put the top lines in first and work to that.
Okay, thank you very much. This dog looks really dirty, and I'm sure he's not. So you've obviously put something. No, he's not. You've obviously put something on him. What have you done with this coat so far?
This dog is 11 months old and is still in puppy coat, and it's just about ready to pull now. So it's not absolutely brilliantly for pulling, but this is chalk. He's been chalked all over. It dries the coat. It helps with the grip on the coat. So as we can work through it, it just helps pull the coat out. When it's too silky, it just slips. And what I'm using at the moment is a comb, but what's inside the comb is an elastic band, and the rubber grips onto the coat and it pulls it. So it doesn't cut it, it pulls it. Never ever, if you're going to do show cockers, use a coat king on them or cheats like that, because it just doesn't work. It really doesn't work. It doesn't last and it doesn't grow back nicely. So the rubber band, I'm just getting the bulk of the coat out with the band. The band helps and it grows back absolutely beautiful, but it does take out quite a lot of coat.
Yeah, I see it.
I'm going to start with the stripping with my fingers. I'm just trying to take a lot of the coat because he's really woolly. He's got a heavy puppy coat on him, so it's just getting a bit of the bulk out. And I use this all the time, and some people in the breed only use this because they can't strip, because the hands, it hurts them. So we're just going to take out a lot of this with this bulk coat with this, and then do some stripping on him. And I brought another dog to show you later that's a 2-year-old bitch, and she's been done with this and by hand, and you'll see the difference that the coat stage comes as it comes along, you know, with age, because when they're puppies they are really woolly, and you just think you're getting nowhere with it, and you really have to be patient, because if you're not patient you'll ruin it. So you've got to be patient with it. And I'm speaking as a show person. It's not something you can do in the salon, but if someone wants you to hand strip a cocker, you must say to them they must be patient. But this comb and band is an absolute, it's a real gem. You just wind elastic band in and out, weave it through. A lot of the books will tell you about a Sprat 76 comb. They just won't touch this coat now. It would have done years ago on the breed, because the breed had a much finer coat, but they don't now. They're a very heavy coated breed, so you can use a wider comb. I find the wider teeth with the coat, with the elastic band, gets much more hair out, so that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Lovely, thank you very much. Right. Okay, I tell you what, I won't talk to her because she's doing these delicate bits. Not any mistakes to be made there. No.
What blade was Mike using?
Oh, what blade were you using, Mike? Hang on.
10.
Whereabouts? I missed that. Whereabouts?
I'm just clipping out the front here, because this is an area really you don't hand strip on a cocker. It's just not going to, you want it really smooth, and you're not going to get it really smooth if you strip it. Most people in the breed use thinning scissors to do it, but I've sort of just do the clippers, because at the end of the day it's a cutting instrument whether you're using scissors or clippers. Clippers are quicker and smoother, and you can get just as, you know, the good a finish with the clippers as you can the thinning scissors.
Can we turn it around so the guys can have a look? Yeah. Just to show you sort of the clipping lines that you've done on him?
Just clipping up also, right in here, the lip folds here with the cockers, you want to be careful they don't get spaniel mouse, so keep these areas really clean, either with clippers or scissors. Take the hair out of them, because they get an infection called spaniel mouth, and it sits in the groove there, and it's quite nasty. You can usually smell it when they come in the salon, so really keep them clean there. This dog actually has it at the moment. It's not a dog of mine, but he does have it, and I noticed it yesterday, so I
think a lot of owners seem to think it's their breath or their teeth, and it quite often isn't, is it?
He travelled up with him and he said he absolutely stinks, he needs a bat, he stinks, and you know exactly what the smell is, because it's like rotting flesh, it's horrible. So I've cleaned it all up and done it with some Hibby scrub for him. So we've cleaned it all out and just keep it nice and clean.
And in severe cases, they can actually go in and take that corner of that lip fold out, can't they? If you get a dog with a lot of facial skin, then often you get that crease becomes really big, and that's when you get that bacteria in there.
It works quite well on it as well. Yeah, packing it with Fornit works well on it. It seems to get on top of it, because it is hard to get on top of when they get it. But yeah, so just clipping, you just clip down here clean, usually to the breastbone on the cocker, and then we leave this frill here. That's where we're at. It's number 10.
Number 10, lovely. You can also reverse a 7F or a 5F if you don't want to go too short under there. Right, okay. When you're prepping, any tips for when you're prepping poodles?
Use a good product, be very thorough. If I'm doing competitions or showing, then my dogs will get at least 2 baths. If just maintenance work, they're getting 1 bath and a good conditioner. And then it's a case of using the products for blow drying out. And yes, I do use products.
When you're blow drying, do you use a stand dryer or a blaster or a mixture of both?
I blast them to get most of the wetness out, but it again depends on whether I'm doing competition and show prep or whether I'm just doing maintenance. If it's maintenance, I go for bulk drying with the blaster and then finish off just to make sure everything's knot free and straight. If it's for show, then I'll quickly blast and then I will stand there with the stand dryer and get every bit straight.
How long does that take you on hobs?
I think it takes me about, including the bath, about 2 hours.
About 2 hours. A lot of work. On a pet dog that's coming in about every sort of 6 to 8 weeks, and then you know, the cleaner the coat, the easier it is to dry. If you've got any kind of dirt or grease in the coat, then it just tends to lengthen the drying process. And of course, it makes it a lot harder for you to scissor as well. So making sure you've got a really nice clean coat is really paramount with the scissor work. Okay, Zoe. So what's the general shape that you're trying to achieve with the Bichon?
Barreled, but not too much. At one time, we used to have them really, really rounded, but they're a lot more shape to them now. Some people have them a lot flatter on the ribs. I do like a little bit of curve, and I like a lot of angulation in the back end. And so I work in the curve of the natural leg and just following and kicking out at his hock. You've probably seen that I've actually not taken anything off his hock at all and nothing really off his stifle. I've created it all from the side and at the top of the leg and in on his back line. The most important thing on a Bichon, okay, is not to take out this in the waistline, okay, because if you start taking out that, and especially when you clip your Bichons, you take that out. So if I was to put my hand in there, how long the dog looks. So you need to keep a piece, and trying to stop yourself taking it out is really quite difficult. Okay, so that's why I sort of leave that bit to last to join into his ribs. Okay, so they do look really quite wide at the top of the leg. Okay. I do use products and sprays and that as well.
What's your favourite?
I'm trying at the moment today the new Requal. So I'm quite liking it actually.
You can get Requal from the Red Cape stand.
So it's the new styling art. So I've just put a light dusted on, and what I'm finding, without it being sticky, it's actually standing the coat. It is reducing the static out as well, but as well the combs help.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see that you're using the famous There's Pooch's combs. Are you liking it?
Love it. Absolutely love it. And I sort of thought at the beginning, it's like, oh God, I'm that much money in a comb, but I can see it.
How much are they?
130 something pounds.
What was that? 135 pounds for a comb. Sorry?
They're good in the dog for you.
What is so good about the comb that it's worth that much money?
It's light. Do you want to pass it around and see? Like, I can't use these long combs. Like, you use a long comb, don't you? Yeah, I can't use them, you know, especially like on the Bichons and things. And a lot of people who do scissoring use the long, what we call poodle combs, but I can't use them. But then when I got hold of this, it was like, ooh, we like this. Because it's so light as well. And because of don't ask me what it's made of and things like that. That's it, we got it on there.
I see Simon's crept in the corner there. He probably heard me talk about the There's Pooch's combs from over on the stand. Yeah.
And it's like people sort of say, oh, anti-static combs and things like that, and they don't work. It's like, your sprays do your anti-static, but actually this does. I'm finding like doing a tiny Yorkie with a really flyaway coat, I comb it and it sits. It doesn't stick out everywhere. And that, so I am a fan. And that's so.
Come on, we're going to pass it around. Don't break it! Who wants to hold first? It's almost like it should have like little lights coming off it, like a little halo, do you know what I mean? It should have angels singing as I'm walking around with it.
Are you using yours, Alison? Alison, have you used yours? Is he going to get it for you?
I have to admit, I am quite tempted. I mean, Simon keeps waving one at me as the time we passed.
When I first got it, I sort of thought, oh, 130 odd quid in a comb, no, but we thought that of the Lapooch brushes when we said 30 quid for a brush. But I've had in a lifetime a hell of a lot of greyhounds, so over a life, there's supposed to be a lifetime guarantee on the Lapooch ones. So if they go wrong, lose teeth or anything like that, you send back and you get another one.
And I must admit, I mean, initially I thought, that's an awful lot of money for a comb. And I know it does do good things, but it still seems to be an awful lot of money for a comb. However, I haven't actually tried it yet, and if it helps, yeah. If you're suffering with your wrists, and if no other comb out there does the same job, then you know, it's worth the money.
What about the scissors?
Let's talk about some scissors. What scissors are you using?
I'm a Zumi 10-year fan. That's my
Where'd you get those from?
Christie's.
Okay, Christie's. What do you like about them?
I've just said, I've had these are actually my originals, and I've had a second pair since, and I still go to my originals, and I've had them coming up 20 years. Yeah, so over that length of time, paying £200 for a pair of scissors is nothing. But they just fit me. I just find the 10 years, I like the short shank and a smaller blade, but I also have the 8-inch as well. And the 8-inch are actually based on more of a katana, but they're not as heavy. So I use the 8-inch more of a workhorse, and then I use my 7 inches as scissoring.
What do you trim the legs with then, or do you not?
Sorry?
What do you trim the legs with?
The legs with?
Yeah.
Well, the front legs, I use Coat Kings on the front legs only, never on the main body, as I said earlier, but on the front legs, or thinning scissors on the front legs just to thin them down. These are finger cots that I've got on the fingers that they don't last that long really, you split through them. They just, anything to help grip the hair. This dog was bathed yesterday because he smelled, but usually wouldn't. That's why I've chalked him up. That's sort of dirtied him all up and make the hair more grippable. But don't use stripping knives on Cocker Spaniels, no, because they are serrated and they do cut the coat. They will cut it like Coat Kings will. So it is traumatic work for the groomer, but it's finger and thumb and it is skill. And it does look erratic and I'm all over the place, but I'm just moving around because there is no format to doing this. I don't do it in a format, I just move around if the dog's uncomfortable in one place, because you are pulling the dog's hair out. Yeah, it's finger and thumb, and it's just little and often. Taking the hair, you're snatching the hair close to the root, so you're pulling it. So as you do it, you just, this coat is not brilliant either, so for pulling, but if you just get yourself a right lump of hair in your hand, and if you just move your hand up and you follow it with your finger and thumb and you pull, so you're not pulling. If you pull too much too soon, the dog just won't let you do it. It would hurt, you know, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yes, you just want to play, don't you? It's only 11 months, bless him. And you'll see the bitch later, she's absolutely gleaming, and she's only had what I'm doing to this dog on her, but there obviously isn't enough time to show you the finished result, and it is a puppy coat, so, you know, this bitch, you'll see it's beautiful, it lies gorgeous, it's shiny, it's silky, and that's what the breed's texture should be. It should be flat and silky. So I do this in the salon to show people, so once I get on top of a dog, I want them in at least every 3 or 4 weeks, and if someone's showing the dog, then they're happy to bring them that often, because you know they've got to be seen looking right in the ring, so they will bring them that often to me. I could spend 4 hours on him and still not be done, but the bitch yesterday, she was put on the table, I spent half an hour just stripping her, just whizzed over her with the comb with the band in, bit of chalk, lifted a lot out, and then she was bathed and dried, and then I can strip again after they've been bathed and dried, but you've got to be careful that you don't split the coat, and it just, because it can twang and break and split, because some people, you see them like, and they're going away at it like this, and they're just not getting anywhere, and they're breaking the hair, they're not stripping in it in a fashion. You've got to let it fall, and it sort of fans out, and if you follow it with your finger and thumb and snatch at it hard, you will get it out properly, but this is not a great example to show you on, really.
What age do you start stripping from?
Usually people want to get them out there at 6 months old and stuff, so they're really eager to get them stripped out, and that's where they go wrong. They get the Coat King out and they think, oh, I'll just do the head with the Coat King and I'll just do this, and then before you know it, it's coming back in waves. So usually the coat is really ready to strip at 10 months old, I find, on the party colours. Some colours are different. The reds can go blotchy because there's 16 different colours in cockers. They all have the same, they should all have the same sort of texture of coat, but they don't generally, you know. Some are really, really soft, and they're really hard. Some coats are really hard, and some of the colours are hard. The blacks can be really difficult to strip, and then others can't, but I generally keep the blue roan ones, orange roans. The lighter the colour, the easier it is to strip it. So the whiter hair strips better, obviously, than the black hair. The orange roans are quite easy to do, and once you've got all the puppy coat out, they're very easy to keep on top of, and you've got a flat, silky, straight coat which requires very little work once you've mastered it, and then the rest is just you finish with your trimming and your outline and your shaping and stuff like that. So it is really nice to do, but it can't be done on castrated coats or spayed, because it just won't work on those.
So you just go ahead and clip those?
Yeah, go ahead and clip them. If someone asks you to do them, I do different types of cocker trims in my shop. So if someone comes in and they say, oh, but I don't want it clipping, I want it to look like a show dog. So I do it with a Coat King. I use the Coat King at various stages of the grooming. I'll use it in the bath, use it on the table when they're being dried, and just keep on using it, and you're getting the coat out all the time. And it does work a treat. The texture's ruined from it, but they've got the look, you know what I mean?
Have you ever used the comb attachments on the clippers?
No, just because it's a short breed anyway. You want the body coat short generally. It's supposed to look natural, isn't it? You know, that's the aim with the hand stripping. It does look so natural. You'll see on the bitch, it doesn't. There's not a line in it. It flows. Coat Kings, you can get a natural look with the Coat King, but the texture's not natural when you feel it. You get away with it for a while on a puppy, and when Coat Kings first were launched, all the cocker people went nuts on them. They absolutely went crazy, and they couldn't get enough of them, and they were ripping their hair out with them. Finger and thumb is the only way forward. I can only say, if you're gonna hand strip and you're gonna say you're gonna hand strip, you've got to do it. If someone asks you to do it and you can't do it, don't do it. Don't try and cheat with Coat Kings. It's not worth it, because you will alter the texture of the coat.
You're just gonna make yourself more work in the long run, aren't you?
What if you've got a dog, a Cocker Spaniel that's come in and it's already been Coat Kinged and you want to get back to hand stripping? Is that possible?
It can be possible if you grow it out, depending on the dog's coat and the texture it was to start off with. If the dog has a really good coat, then yeah, it could be achievable. I've got a bitch staying with me now that's in heat, and she's been Coat Kinged, but she's not spayed, and her coat's okay. It looks lovely. But when you touch it, you really do feel the difference. Yeah, you can get them back, but you'd have to grow it out again and start again. And you just hope for the best, really. Trial and error it is, unfortunately.
So just to make the coat stand up, make it easier to scissor, if you wet it first, if you comb it up, it will flop down. If you put a bit of wet through it, it will stand a lot better, and it'll stay there while you scissor up.
It gives you a much more crisper look.
Yeah, it'll stay. Apart from anything else, that is the skill of the rose line too, obviously.
Crying out loud. If you had an owner bringing a dog in that wanted this kind of style, insofar as the show length, would you do anything differently with a pet owner's coat?
Every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks. If they're wanting it scissored, it's every 3-4 weeks. After that, it gets clipped. There's no point in putting the dog through it. Especially the owners love to bath Bichons, and that's where everybody goes wrong. Because if you don't get the knots out before they go in the bath, then it locks, and that's when you have all the problems. So unless the owner's willing to work with us and do the scissor and keep up to it and bring them in regular, then we might as well put a comb attachment or a long blade on. Like a lot of our pet ones are we use a lot of 3Fs. And where I blocked out the scissor work is that's where I clip and then scissor the legs and head in. If they want the head really small as well, I clip the ears off, scissor the ears and then get a really tiny head and that on it as well.
This is an area that you sort of struggle with, trying to get the head really short, and people yeah, and the ears are sticking out, and I think so many people make the mistake, the fact that it's not just the head you're trying to take short, we've got to take those ears as well.
There will be a technique I'll be using on his head that'll sort of help with the ears.
Oh, okay. Zoe's going to show us some stuff on her head later. Right, we had a question over there. Oh, you have to shout at me because I'll... Sorry, what length would you use to clip the ears on a Bichon if you were taking the head right down?
Normally I stick to a medium blade, so sort of 4F to 5F if I'm going really short, but 4F is normally about the average I use.
So it shows you how short you want those ears. Right, okay, so what have you been doing?
I'm just starting to shape him in now because he's a bit overgrown. He hasn't been done since last year sometime. I clip his legs regularly on the short bits, but I've been growing him, just letting him do what he wants. So now I just want to bring him back in and create the right outline that he should have.
Right, okay, so where would you start? I mean, if you were putting this dog come in with like, sort of 10 inches of coat and the owner says, oh, I want a line trim, what would you do first?
First thing is I'd have to go over the dog and see what I've got lying under the coat. Then I know whether I've got to make corrections for a dog that's too long in the body, or if I've got a really short cobby dog, then I've got a free rein. So for him, he's a nice tall dog, he's got good length of leg. I know I've got plenty of room to move, and the first thing I would do is get the back end in. That's all your real curves and shapes are going to go in that back end, and they really show off the movement of the poodle. So for me, back end, then top line, then chest. Once I've got that in, then I know where I'm working to, and then it's just blending it all in together. But they're a square breed, so from the base of the tail to the shoulder, to the front of the chest should be the same as from the floor to the shoulders. So, and then the longer the neck, the better. It should be an elegant breed, it should be light on its feet. So long as you do that in whatever haircut you do, make it look elegant, make it look bouncy on its feet, you're going to make the dog work and the customer's going to be happy.
Okay, we've got a gentleman over here saying, have you got any tips on how to harden a poodle coat?
Depends on what stage you get the dog. When I've got puppies that I think have got good potentials, I tend to clip them off at about 7 weeks with a 10 blade. That would normally double the coat thickness. If they come in at 12 weeks and you're looking to grow the coat on, clipping them down short does tend to increase the thickness of the coat, and it does increase the coarseness of it as well. And I've found that with all my puppies, when they leave me, they go with a full puppy trim, and all of those have much coarser hair over the bum where they've been scissored, much, much faster than the rest of the body coat.
What other tips have you got for us, Mike?
When you're stripping, you need to keep the skin. They're really loose skin cockers, so you can really get a hold of them, and it doesn't really bother them at all. So you need to keep it nice and tight as you're stripping it. It will just help you doing it, because if you're just pulling on it, you're just going to pull it backwards and forwards. You're not going to get it out. So you have got to keep hold of from where you're pulling, drag it forward, and then keep pulling.
So how often do you bath your cockers at home?
They're bathed every week because they stink.
Okay, that's only a cocker for you, I guess.
It's just smell cheesy, don't they? They're into everything, so they're bathed every week because I'm showing them, and the dogs are just, as soon as a bitch has a pee, they sniff it, they drop their ears in it, they soak it all up, and that's them stinking for the next week. So they're in the bath every week, yeah.
So what shampoos do you use?
Any general purpose ones, really, in between shows and stuff like that. Just something really mild that's not going to irritate them, and really, I think it's how well you shampoo them and how well you rinse it out of them. I always give them 2 washes and get it, and I can actually hear it squeak, you know, squeaky clean, that old saying. Just be very, very thorough when you're rinsing, and make sure you get it all out. And the same with the conditioner as well.
Do you use conditioners as well, do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Do you just use the conditioners on the legs, or do you just kind of use it all over?
All over, and you might be surprised to hear this, but whether I should say this in here. Pantene works very well on the Cocker Spaniels. Smooth and sleek, it works brilliantly on them. The dog I used in the competition was baffed in that. A little splash of Hibby scrub as well, just so, because his skin would be lifting. But it works really, really well. I think it is how thorough you are and how well you do it. I have started using more expensive products because I feel like I have to, you know, because I'm a groomer and stuff. And I want to try these things out, but, you know, I've been getting good results on my dog and my show dogs for years using pretty much anything, like Tresemme conditioner and stuff like that. They do work, they do work on them. And, you know, my dogs haven't got flyaway coats, they sit nice in the ring, the comments have been fabulous about the dogs and stuff like that. I think, you know, there are other things that do work. There are cheaper alternatives to, if you can't afford all these fancy shampoos, you know, when you're first starting out and stuff.
Hi, I just wanted to ask Mike, what sort of chalk you use and how you get it into the coat. I've got one of those big pot things and it just goes everywhere.
Yeah, don't use the pots of powder because they just go everywhere unless you've got a sprinkler. I use a soft a chalk block that's quite soft, so it comes off really easily. There's some that are really hard and gritty, they're really horrible, and they don't apply well to the dog's coat, so I just use a soft one.
So you've rather sneakily spotted the head there, I didn't notice that. Yeah. Okay, go with it, Zoe.
Right, what I've done, first of all, I've used curved scissors to bring up round the sides. You don't have to do. I don't in the salon. I can't be bothered swapping and changing scissors. But now what I'm doing is actually using chunkers, which helps me trim sort of over the cheek area without sort of getting any great big lines in it. The one thing you never ever do with a Bichon is do that and trim it. Okay, your ear should be within your head. Okay, I personally hate it when you separate ears off. Okay, so if they've got like the silky texture ear, but then they've got quite a nice sort of texture to the head, using a chunker or a thinning scissor is fine. Over the ear, you can actually bring the texture into the like woolly type rather than it being sort of silky. So I'm finding using thinning scissors on the wool coats now really quite, what am I sort of saying, helpful, really, to stop scissor lines. Now, at one time, we were like, oh my God, you never ever use thinning scissors on a wool coat. But nowadays, we are using it a lot more.
It's much easier to chip away at shape, isn't it, with thinners? Although you put a straight coat with the scissors and that's it. You can't backtrack. These with thinners, you can just gradually get that shape in. And I see that you're using chunkers there. Can we zoom into the chunkers? See how they've got nice big gaps in between the teeth, and they're great for putting in shape into, blocking out shape on this kind of thing. Or
I like using them on lasers and things as well that I'm not clipping. So it's like the lasers that are scissor and things that I'm using chunkers an awful lot now.
Yeah.
When the chunkers first came out, they were like that long. So now they're bringing them into the smaller ones. They're a lot easier to use.
We were talking about the longer ones earlier. The longer ones they look really great, and when you start using them, they're brilliant, and they can really whack off a large amount of coats. Yeah, but unfortunately, they seem to last for about a day, and then they start to go blunt, especially the top third of them. Quite frankly, they're too long for most people's hands. They're quite heavy as well, so you end up blunting them very quickly. So they don't tend to last very long.
It takes some getting used to. Okay, the irises are like, so when you first start using them, especially on the silky coats, they can leave a lot of line, a lot of chunks out. So you've got to get used to using them, trial and error with them. But I do love them for the wool coats. You could actually trim the whole dog with them. If you're not so confident with your scissors and you're having blunt lines, then using the chunkers is brilliant.
Okay, we want some tips on how to do front legs.
I personally cannot trim a leg like that. Okay, I find I go wayward and everything, so I always trim. I do my inside lines with the leg up. Okay, that's fine. Okay, but everything else, no matter what dog it is, what breed it is, I do with the leg on the ground. This is your difficult leg. Okay, so what I do is bring myself this way, hold the shoulder, so I'm upside down, so I've got hold of the actual shoulder blade. Okay, slightly twist with a natural dog. Okay, bring yourself behind your dog and you can work. Don't have your scissors right up because you don't want to take your elbow hair off. Relax a little bit, so you're using more the point of your scissor and you're coming down. On these you're going to be going straight, so I scissor sideways, but on everything else that has a soft curve coming in, I come down and just let the scissor move, let it drop, and it just comes into the back of the foot. Don't be tempted to come across or you're going to end up with a great big line. But I just come down, that way, twist it a little bit more and I can bring the inside and back line together, and then I come back round and just lift up from the bottom.
Just take the bulk of coat off with straights and then put a natural finish on them. You don't want these legs to be poodly. You know, they're not supposed to be scissored, puffy legs. They should lie. The coat should lie naturally and not be combed up like a poodle leg. What shape should Chrissy be aiming for when she's doing a fox terrier? Whether she's actually achieving it or not?
Got the shape. She got it, yeah. Square.
Square fox terrier shape. What about the head?
Square. Rectangular head, yeah.
Rectangular. You got the? Oh, you haven't done the head yet, have you? Yeah. You're getting good comments over there from Yitka. Done half the head. Oh, okay. Can we turn him around so people anything to see there? Maybe you've got she's done half the head. She's done the eyebrows.
You just want to be careful when you're doing the head that you don't dish the head. Should be straight from the cheek to the beard, so you should have a complete straight line. I mean, obviously it's more fluffy than a hand strip, but you can kind of pull this if you want to.
One of the things I just want to say with the poodles, everybody talks about cockatails and schnauzer tails and what are we going to do with the terrier tails. One of the biggest bugbears I have with poodle tails, now that they're not docked, is people are moving this clip line up so that you can keep a little pom. And to be honest, in my personal opinion and a fair few others, it looks ridiculous. Keep the clip line down low and just give it an oval plume. Don't move it up higher because they look ridiculous and unbalanced. Keep it a big tail. It will suit a lot better than changing the clip line.
Would you? I mean, if in a lamb trim or something, could you sort of scissor the tail completely?
You can either trim it down like they do with the German trims, or you can just keep it a tighter oval. It will still work and it can still look elegant, but it does look stupid if you clip it higher.
Yes. Just go through and just talk over again. Just remind everybody what it is that you've done and how you've achieved it.
Right, again, the Bichon is, like most dogs, it's square. You don't want the dog to look long. So you don't, even though you're wanting to create shape in its back end, you don't want to leave like a great big bum on it. It wants just like a natural shape. This area here at the front wants to be as short as you can, but you've got to be aware of where the dog's breastbone is. Okay, especially the pet ones are very like what we call pigeon-chested. Okay, so they've got a bone that sticks out. So be aware where this bone is, because if you set off going really short, you're going to hit that bone. So he's actually got quite a nice flat front, so I've followed the natural shape. So this is really quite short. Shoulders have come in, again, they're not the apple shape like they used to be, where they used to come sort of down and round. Now you're wanting to make the dog look sort of longer in the shoulder and extending the neck. So you're coming from the top of the leg with a gentle curve to bring into the neck. So you see the neck doesn't fall from like each side of the ear, it actually comes in behind and it's just a piece sort of more in the middle that's blended. It's not very wide, okay, on there. Everything is straight, parallel lines, and then just round off your corners, basically. And then a nice round head keeping your ears within.
How are you going, Mike?
I think I'm just about ready to be putting this one in the bath now. Yeah, so, because obviously all the chalk needs to be bathed out and everything, and it is a puppy, it is, you know, has got a lot of coat on it, especially on its quarters and everything and all here, and then I would do a bit more stripping again after the bath and it's dried. So I'll clear the table up and I'll get the adult bitch out, which is a finished result. This is 11 months old, she's 2, she's something I'm rolling and keeping on top of all the time. So I'll clear up the table and get her out so they can, and just tidy around her outline and stuff like that.
Lovely. I was just looking there that you stripped the head, but you've clipped the top of the ears, is that right?
Yeah, I've stripped the head, but I've clipped the top of the ears because the ears, you want them really close to the head, on level with the eyes. So you want really nice and clean here and tight. And then you can finish it with a bit of thinning scissors. I mean, all this needs to come off here, but it's a work in progress because it's a youngster, so I'm just giving you the general gist of it.
What tips can you give everybody for getting a nice scissor finish on their dog?
Work smoothly in a fluid movement. Literally, don't work. Try and keep your scissors flowing over in a long movement, and try and keep your hands as steady as possible. And that way you're not going in and out. Each time you bring your scissor away and then go back, you're starting at a new height. If you just keep a fluid movement going, you'll be staying at the same distance from the dog.
Mike's got the other bitch up, and you can see the difference between the two. That's absolutely stunning, isn't it? She's lovely. That deserves a round of applause, don't you? So on her, you just really applied the same sort of principles as you did with the other one, but it's been, obviously, she's much more chill.
She's had the comb put over her with the band wound through it, with a bit of chalk before her bath, a bit of stripping. Her head was quite long, it had come on quite long, but the aim is with this is so it looks so natural, and you only get that natural with stripping. And it just looks like I've done nothing while I've been doing that, but I've actually done quite a lot. It's a good progress, you know. There's a lot of progress been made now. And next 2 strips on that dog, and all that puppy coat will be out, and I'll have an adult coat underneath like this. When he's bathed, he'll probably look quite silky and shiny like this, but this is really short. It's very natural. And you just should flow, really, you know.
Do you do it all in one go, or like terriers, like you have different areas that should be, you know, different lengths? On a cocker, is it more or less the same length?
Yeah, you're just stripping all the same length. It depends if you want something, you know, if you're leaving hair somewhere to hide something, a fault or something like that, if the dog's got, it falls short somewhere and you want to leave a bit of hair on, or you want to make an optical illusion of having a longer neck with the scissor work. If you come further down here, you'll get a longer neck. And then with the ears as well, trim them to above the point of the shoulder there, because then you can show that angle off here, this return in the forearm, and it's all about balance and everything. So when you want the dog has to look balanced, and they don't look balanced when cockers have got great big ears and they're like pom-poms and there's too much weight in their ears. So on the inside of their ears, actually do use the Coat King, which I said before, don't use it anywhere on the main body, but on the inside of the ears, it'll take all the surplus hair out and all that weight, because some of them have got quite weighty ears on them, and you want them to look natural and fine and like this. Really, it doesn't look sculptured or hammered or scissored in any way, does it? It just flows and it's balanced, and you know that's the aim you're looking for, and that's the aim you'll only get if you do it this way, you know.
What do you want to say about your fox terrier? Anything?
I would just say, when you're doing a fox terrier, always make sure your feet are very small so it looks like it's on its toes.
You can
eyelashes off as well. That always helps to show the eye.
cut your eyelashes off. You can come down in a minute and have a look once we've just finished all of these. Much easier to have a look when you're actually down here. I love to see poodles move with their poms on their legs. It's so pretty. Come on then, Pops. Show us what you're made of. Yay! Would you measure the poms?
The poms on the standards are normally set about an inch up from the hock bone on the rear poms, and you angle them so that they run at 90 degrees to the angle of the leg. So most people make the mistake that on the poms they do the front ones straight because the leg goes straight up and down. So when they do the back one, they do a straight line across as well. But it should be following the line of the back leg. So if you look at him, so you go straight across his leg here, but on the back leg, when he's stood, his leg goes at that angle. So you've got to go across, cut across the leg to get the right angle on the pom. Otherwise, you're going to shorten the angulation on the dog and make it look like his leg is going straight down. So to keep the angulation on the dog, have that angle right there.
Thank you very much, Sue. Just out of interest, how much would you charge for this if you came into your salon?
If they bath and blow dry it, then it's £80, just to do the trimming for the show. If they want me to blow dry it as well, it's 120.
There you go. On a standard. Chrissy, how much do you charge?
What for this? 37.
That's on 6 to 8 weeks. 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind how long they are, to be
8
honest.
to 10 weeks. We were talking earlier on that Chrissy was saying that she doesn't care how often they come in, as long as they're not matted. Doesn't matter how much coat she's got. Yeah. Zoe, how much?
Scissored all over, pet-wise, every 4 weeks, 35. Specialist, if somebody's booking in for show trimming, 50 plus, depending on whether or not they want him to bath and dry.
How much do you charge for dematting?
We don't, as such. It's hard to sort of say £10 an hour or stuff like that. We put money on top, obviously. So, say if this was matted, I'm having to groom out, then it goes like, I'll put a £5 on. If it's really bad, then a bit more. But sometimes I'm thinking, if you're up to quoting £20 extra, is it a bit cruel to actually groom that out? It should be clipped off. So, if you're charging so much more on top, then it should be a point where you're clipping it off and start again and things. So. I mean, if the owner wants it in full cut and the dog's willing for you to groom it out, then I've charged quite easily 55 and suffering every day.
I tend to. We were talking earlier on. I tend to quote an extra sort of £20 or £30 to the point if I want to clip it off, and I give the owners that. It's going to If you want to take it off, then it's going to be
the normal price because it's easier to just take it off. But if they want it with a bit more coat on, as long as it's not painful for the dog, then you're shoving your prices up.
And the hopes is that they'll turn around and say, "Well, I'm not paying that," and then you shave it all off. That's the idea. Absolutely. Yeah. But at least you're giving the owner a choice. You're not turning around and saying no. You're saying, "Well, yeah, I can, but you want to pay the earth for it. That's fine." Mike, how much do you charge for hand stripping in your place?
Not enough.
Well, I think that's most people.
Yeah, for hand stripping a show cocker, properly hand stripping, £50, which is really cheap, to be honest. But I have so many friends in the breed that use me because they can't get the hair out, and I'm very, very generous, let's put it like that, to my friends. But pet cockers, £35 for pet clipping, which is the example that Kerry did earlier. But you're not going to see that many that want them hand stripped in the salon. Definitely not. It's specialist work, and it's people. And once people get into the breed, they tend to try and learn how to do it themselves.
Thank you very much.
Just go to the post office.
with the Welsh, you'd take the middle and leave the edge, and then trim it in. But with a fox, you take it right out to the.
Oh, this is far too long. This is far too long.
Usually he is all the time. West is me. He does a brilliant job.